Have you ever met someone who seems to have it all together? They're the listener, the wise one, the rock for everyone else. But if you look closer, you can see it. A deep, old pain behind the eyes. A quiet storm that never really stopped raging. For the INFJ, healing isn't about slapping a bandage on a wound and moving on. It's an intense, often misunderstood, internal archaeological dig into the very core of their soul. They don't just want to stop the bleeding. They need to understand who made the knife, why it was thrown, and what the scar is trying to teach them. Today, we're breaking down the 5 most controversial and unique signs of how an INFJ truly heals. If you've ever felt like your process of healing is alien to everyone else, or if you love an INFJ and want to understand them, you need to see this. Let's get into it. Alright, first off, the paradox of intellectualizing pain. The first sign is the one that gets the most misunderstanding and is truly controversial. When a deep wound is triggered, the INFJ's first instinct is not to cry, it is to research. While the entire world champions the idea of feeling your feelings, the INFJ does the opposite. They need to think them. A heartbreak is not just a heartbreak, it becomes a case study in attachment theory. A childhood wound is a doorway into complex developmental psychology. They will devour articles, books, and philosophical texts. They are building an intellectual framework around the pain. To an outsider, this looks like cold, clinical detachment. It looks like avoidance. You might hear them say, "Stop analyzing it and just feel it." But this is a profound misunderstanding. For the INFJ, the emotion is too vast and too overwhelming to just dive into. The logic is not a wall to block the feeling. It is the container that makes the emotional release safe and meaningful later. They must solve the mystery of the why before they can ever process the hurt. This is the paradox. They armor themselves with data to finally be able to feel. Secondly, the strategic unveiling of vulnerability. If you have ever tried to get close to an INFJ who is healing, you have likely encountered this sign. This is the habit that can feel the most confusing and even frustrating to those on the outside. While INFJs are known as the world's empaths and confidants, they are fiercely protective of their own inner world. Their healing is not built on oversharing. It is built on what I call strategic vulnerability. This is not a spontaneous act of trust. It is a calculated, almost scientific process. An INFJ in pain will perform a series of tiny, controlled experiments. They will share a small, curated piece of their story with you. This is a test sample. It's not the whole truth, but a fragment designed to gauge your reaction. Then, they retreat. They become a silent observer, collecting data with intense scrutiny. They are watching everything. Did you listen, or did you wait for your turn to talk? Did you offer judgment or true understanding? Did you respect the story, or did you try to minimize it with a platitude? This is not a game. It is a survival mechanism forged in the fire of past betrayals. Their entire healing process is contingent on finding what I call a soul key. That is 1 or 2 people in their life who have proven themselves worthy of holding the full weight of their story. If you react poorly to the test, you will be locked out. The vault door will close and you may never even know it. But if you pass, you'll be granted access to a deeper, more authentic layer. This clinical approach to connection is often mistaken for being manipulative or closed off. But for the INFJ, it is the only way to feel safe enough to heal. It is a ruthless filtration system designed to protect their most tender wounds. So if an INFJ shares something small with you, understand the magnitude of that moment. You are being tested, and your response could determine whether you become a footnote in their story or a key character in their healing. Let me know in the comments if you have ever given or received one of these trust tests. And thirdly, healing through creation, not conversation. Now we arrive at the most solitary and sacred sign of the INFJ healing process. This is the habit that makes their journey so invisible and so deeply misunderstood. When the world tells them to talk it out, the INFJ often chooses a completely different path. You will not find them processing pain over long coffee talks or in therapy sessions alone. Their deepest healing happens in absolute solitude, through a silent, creative act. This is not just a hobby, it is a non-negotiable ritual, A heartbreak does not just lead to tears, it becomes an unwritten novel, a series of poems scrawled in a hidden journal, a melody composed on a piano at 2 a.m. That betrayal fuels a painting of chaotic, dark colors, or a complex digital world built line by code. This is their secret language, a dialect of the soul that no one else is meant to fully understand. The act of creation is alchemical. It is the process of taking the formless, chaotic, internal storm of pain and giving it a shape outside of themselves. They externalize the chaos. They take the screaming static in their minds and turn it into a symphony of sorrow they can finally hear and make sense of. The wound is not something to be erased. In this space, it becomes the muse. And here is the most controversial part. They might never, ever show the resulting creation to a single soul. The power is not in the sharing or the likes or the external validation. The power is in the act itself. The catharsis is in the translation. This is why an INFJ can emerge from a week of isolation seemingly transformed, while their friends and family worried, thinking they were sinking into depression. They weren't decaying in that room. They were in the sacred workshop of their soul. They were on their hands and knees, forging their pain into something new, something tangible. They were writing the blueprint of their hurt so they could finally stop living inside of it. This is the INFJ's secret. They don't just talk about their demons. They give them a form, a name, and a shape on a canvas or a page. And in doing so, they strip them of their power. If you have ever created something in your darkest moment that no one has ever seen, tell me about it in the comments. Let me know if you understand this private, sacred magic. And fourthly, we have the essential isolation chamber. This next sign is the one that causes the most concern for those who love an INFJ and is often the most misunderstood. When an INFJ is faced with a deep wound or a triggering event, their instinct is not to reach out. It is to retreat completely and utterly. They will enter what I call the necessary isolation chamber. Texts will go unanswered. Social plans will be cancelled or simply ignored. Their social media presence will go dark. To the outside world, it looks like a sudden and concerning silence. It looks like depression, and sometimes the line is dangerously thin. But for the INFJ, this is rarely a collapse. It is a deliberate and necessary tactical retreat. They are not rotting away in that silence. They are performing intense internal surgery on their own psyche. They are diving headfirst into the mbti loop, a deep state of introverted intuition and thinking. They are replaying every memory, connecting every pattern, and deconstructing their entire belief system from the ground up. They need the absolute silence to hear their own inner voice above the deafening noise of the world and the expectations of others. This isolation chamber is their mental bunker, their cognitive labyrinth. It is a non-negotiable and exhausting process of self-recalibration. You cannot rush it. You cannot pull them out prematurely. The only thing you can do is trust that they are doing the profound work they need to do and that they will emerge when they have rebuilt themselves. Fifth, and get this, redefining the wound as a source of power. And finally, after all that intellectualizing, creating, testing, and isolating, they arrive at the secret fifth sign, the ultimate goal. The INFJ doesn't want to erase their wounds. Their mission is to reframe them into their greatest source of power. That childhood trauma isn't something to be buried. It becomes the reason they can spot a suffering child from a mile away. That heartbreak isn't a failure. It's the foundation of their deep understanding of love and loss that makes them an incredible partner or artist. The healed wound is no longer a scar. It's a compass. It points them toward their purpose. This is why so many INFJs are drawn to helping professions, psychology, art, activism, healing. Their greatest pains, once fully understood and alchemized, become their unique gift to give back to the world. Their sensitivity is their superpower, but only because they first learned to navigate the darkest parts of it. If this resonated with you, smash that like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe for more videos diving deep into the INFJ psychology and other personality types.